Coming up today on Eagle on Tech, Skype is finally being shut down. Alexa is getting a brand new AI-powered brain. We'll get into all the details on that little bit of upgrade. Framwork announces a brand new desktop and laptop that may or may not go against their mission statement. And AMD is giving PC builders of the world some hope after disastrous NVIDIA launches. All that more coming up today. Eagle on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North. So I'm going to borrow this Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. I think I have a record low number of tabs open today, but there's still a lot to talk about. There's been a lot lately that's just like, I don't really want to talk about. I don't really want to cover that one either. There's just been a lot of stuff that's just been not really interesting to cover. I've been doing a lot of trimming as of late, but I do hope that what I do cover is at least worth listening, such as, of course, this historical shutdown. Skype, after many, many long years, is finally being shut down and its features being rolled into MSN Messenger. I mean, the free version of Microsoft Teams that you definitely like using. Real quick. Who enjoys using Microsoft Teams? Now put your hands down. I know you're lying. Like, Microsoft Teams is like one of those things that if your workplace uses it, you don't like it. You actively hate it. And quite frankly, the fact that this is being rolled into Teams, I'm honestly surprised it wasn't already done and the Skype branding was just kept there. If you told me what happened to Skype, I would have just assumed, oh, it was rolled into Teams, which is what happened with the decaying remains of MSN Messenger from way back in the day. Well, actually, that got rolled into Skype, but you know what I mean. But no, the whole thing is being shut down and its technology is just being looped into the free version of Microsoft Teams. So you still can communicate over Skype if you want to do that for some reason. I wouldn't recommend that. There's just better things to do with your life, but you do you. You go ahead and do what you gotta do. Personally, I would just use, I don't know, anything else. Like literally anything else. But it is what it is. There's actually a good question for some people. What would you rather use? Microsoft Teams free or carrier pigeon? You may laugh, but there's quite a few tech guys out there that may in fact be willing to learn how to train a carrier pigeon than to go ahead and blight their computer with more Microsoft Teams garbage. Even though it seems like that is now a default feature of Windows. I was gonna say 10, but that's not gonna be a thing anymore. A default program in Windows 11. Meanwhile, though, Meta is introducing their new Aria Gen 2, which is now giving new research for machine perception, contextual AI, robotics, and more. Now, what these things are actually their AI-powered augmented reality glasses that are supposed to help in your ability to, well, get information. Now, honestly, these things are kind of interesting. Like, as far as wearables go, glasses seems to be like the new way to go. The only problem I have is that trying to go ahead and get people to be comfortable with potentially cameras always looking at them at random and never having a clue because they're built in stealthily into the glasses, it'd still be a tough pill for the average person to swallow. I wouldn't care because, for crying out loud, I come here in a small studio built into my room for fun with a camera pointed directly at me. 2 cameras actually directly pointed at me. I mean, what would I care for the most part? Other people, that's a whole nother ball game, let me tell you. So how well are these going to work? I don't know. Am I going to bother going through all the details they gave in the demo? Not really. Do they look interesting? Kind of. Do I think they're going to work anywhere close to as well as their advertising? No. I'll just be blunt in that regards. I don't think that these brand new Gen 2 smart glasses are going to be anywhere close to as they're being advertised. I have just seen again and again and again, whenever it comes to these sort of new revolutionary products, they put them out half-baked every single time. Like, think about the last time a brand new revolutionary product was launched and it was fully baked. Like, when was that? Like, you may think, oh, well, what about Apple? They're infamous for holding stuff back until they're fully baked. Yeah, how'd that work for the Vision Pro? How baked was that? And unfortunately, that was a different kind of baked. How about generative AI in general? The average person just wants nothing to do with it now because of its terrible launch. And that's something that I don't think tech guys realize. First impressions are everything. So they just shove it out, hope it's good, and then just be like, all right, yeah, we're going to make so much monies. And then when they don't, or they do, but have a whole bunch of complaints, they just go, well, don't worry, we'll fix it later. Kind of like Instagram and how a Instagram error turned their Reels feature, that is the basically TikTok feed of Instagram, into a never-ending scroll of horrific and very graphic violence. Yeah. Tons upon tons of videos that I don't know why they haven't been pulled from Instagram, because that is, what the heck? Apparently there's just all kinds of videos on Instagram showing murders, accidents, horrific accidents, people being dismembered. And for whatever reason, there was an error in the Instagram algorithm that showed people these videos despite having no context that they should. I have to ask, why do you have these? Like, seriously, Instagram, what the heck? Granted, I don't think there's a federal law that requires you to make sure that these kind of horrific scenes are not shown to people, but I know there's state laws that require you to. Any reason that your error just didn't do anything about that? Don't be surprised if in a couple of weeks we hear about a class action lawsuit or a state sponsored lawsuit going after Instagram for direct violation of the law. The fact that this was allowed in the first place, the fact that they even had this, is astonishing. Like, how do you mess that up? I'm actually scared to scroll down. Is the rest of this like safe? Yeah, okay. Oh, they actually have some written examples here. Which one of these can I say without getting in trouble? Some of these videos, just listen to what some of these were. An elephant repeatedly stepping on a man and flattening them. A man attacking a pig with a wrench. A very close up of someone who has been shot in the head. A woman crying, laying on top of a loved one who had just been shot to death. A man on a motorcycle stopping next to a pedestrian and shooting him in the head with a pistol. Like, these are all just messed up. Facebook, why are these videos on your platform? Now, one thing I gotta ask, was this a coordinated attack on Instagram? Did multiple workers or multiple people go ahead, upload these videos, then gain access to Instagram, and then push these horrific videos as part of a kind of cyber attack? Is that what occurred? Hard to say, isn't it? It definitely seems like a possibility, but for now we don't know. And when push comes to shove, I still have to look at the philosophy of Heron's razor, that you should never assume malice with that can be equally explained by incompetence. Could very well be the case here. But this is going to be one I'm willing to bet more and more people are going to be asking Instagram, how did this happen? Just like people are going to be asking Amazon, how is this going to happen? Amazon has announced Alexa Plus, a name that will not go ahead and tick people off at all, because anytime I say, did you get Alexa Plus, it triggers their Amazon Echo. So when I say things like Alexa Plus is a new service that's going to be coming out, also remind me next week, Monday at noon, to watch Eagle Eyes on Tech. Guess what's going to happen? Your Echo device is going to remember that because I had to say Alexa. Gotcha. Someone in chat said it's not triggering, to which I say, darn. Disappointed. But this was something that a lot of people expected was going to happen. And I even want to say there were some rumors that this was going to happen, that the Amazon smart speaker was in fact just going to eventually be powered by generative AI. And that does seem to be what's going to be happening here. Alexa Plus will in fact be an upgrade to existing Amazon smart speakers as far as we're aware. I should actually quickly double check here through their listing what are going to be compatible devices, because most of the press announcement here that I'm just scrolling through is all about how great LLMs are for you, because that is tech speak for everyone. By the looks of it, it's going to be available on all Amazon smart speakers. That is what it's looking like right now. I am like trying to very quickly skim through the article again just to make sure that I'm not being made a fool of. That's not to be like, oh yeah, no, it's only the latest generation. So they don't say it's only the new generation, but they don't say all. They don't mention compatibility like at all. But the bottom line is that this will be powered by LLMs or generative AI. I mean, take your pick on which one you want to go. It is sounding like they are going to be mostly using Amazon's in-house large language model, which has anything used Amazon's large language model like at all? I don't think anything has. Like, I know they've been working on one. Everyone's been working on one. I swear Francesco from down the street in his Italian beef shop's working on a large language model for some reason. Everyone is, for somehow, some way. It just seems like everyone is. Why? Nobody knows. Well, now we know why Amazon is. The bottom line, though, is that this upgrade to your Amazon smart speaker will cost you $20, or it will be free with Prime. When I say $20, I do mean $20 per month. So just remember this: the next time that your Prime membership goes up, it's now because of AI. Ooh. Yeah, put that little brainworm in your head now. The next time you see your Amazon Prime cost go up, it's like, it went up. It went up by another $10. People in chat are asking me like, how much is it? Isn't Prime like $10 or $15 per month? You know, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how much it is per month. I just know mine's $140 per year. Someone in chat is confirming that it's $15 per month. So what this actually is an idiot check. Until they go ahead and increase the cost of Prime to be more than $20 a month, this is just straight up a check to see if you can do basic math and do basic price comparison, maybe intermediate price comparison, because Amazon does a very good job of having a massive maze of blocks to try and have you get information. I don't know what it is about Amazon sites. It is just trying to get a straight answer feels like it's more effort than it's actually worth. I can't be the only one, right? That just like wants to find like some basic information, and you either find that information on the Amazon site very, very easily, or it's a 30-minute adventure. It's one or the other. It's never anything in between. Someone in chat said the Alexa Plus won't be worth it if you don't have an Alexa in the first place. Here's the thing, though. This is also going to be available for the Android app as well. There is an Amazon Echo app as well, where you can get the assistant on your phone. This would apply to that as well. So if you didn't go ahead and get a $15 idiot puck in a white elephant gift exchange during Christmas, which pretty much seems to be the only way people get a hold of these things. I shouldn't say the only way. I would say 70% of people who have an Amazon Echo Dot got it in a gift exchange. Someone else in chat says the immediate or 30-minute thing is pretty consistent with almost any major company these days. I'm still going to gripe about it. I am still 100% going to gripe about it. Because those are 30 minutes I'll never get back. And that adds up. You're going to think about this too. As you're in a retirement home, as you are reflecting back on the great life you had, you're going to go back and go, I spent at least collectively an entire year navigating corporate BS sites. God dang it. That's an entire year I could have spent learning French. And then I know what omelette du fromage is. Dang you, Dexter's Lab. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Amazon and how the Echo Dot is about to hallucinate on AI. This is going to be very entertaining. Especially if this is, as we suspect, a brand new large language model that is mostly untested by the public. This is going to be very, very entertaining. So we'll have to wait and see just how it goes. Meanwhile, Framwork had a big announcement. They announced 2 new products. Who knows what Framwork is? Don't even bother. I know you can't see. I know I can't see your hands. Framwork, if you don't know, they are a small laptop maker that their whole shtick is to have computers be serviceable. They've announced 2 products. First, they've announced the Framwork Laptop 12, a foldable touchscreen tablet. When I say foldable, I mean like the hinge. You know what? Foldable is the wrong word. It's a 2-in-1. You know what I mean. It does the Lenovo Yoga thing. So it has a touchscreen. It has a stylus. It has all the things. Now, the whole shtick with Framwork is the fact that these laptops are very, very serviceable. Now, they didn't give us a whole lot of details yet. We do know that they're using, I want to say like, they're either using current gen or last gen Intel. I can't remember which, but it's a very low powered Intel, basically SoC. All right. This is not a very powerful laptop, but its whole thing is that it is not hard to take apart. It is not hard to reassemble. You can get different parts of different colors and mix and match as you want. The keyboard comes off very easily to go ahead and service the whole thing. The IO is swappable. The memory is upgradable. All that sort of jazz. And, to see them go ahead and do this sort of stuff, it's good stuff. It's good all around. All right. The only downside, of course, is that because this is Framwork, the laptop's going to be a bit more expensive. I want to say these things start at $1,100. And that's to actually assemble it yourself. The price then, of course, just goes up from there. Now, of course, Framwork has other laptops. They have a 13-inch laptop that has been around for a while. People have actually even gone through and made accessories to go ahead and pop out the entire motherboard and put that into different enclosures if you so wanted to. Like, there has been a whole community around these sort of things. Someone in chat says, too bad they don't sell gaming laptops. They do. There is a 16-inch almost gaming. I actually should say it's almost a gaming laptop, but like it definitely can game. It's just that NVIDIA didn't want to play ball, and NVIDIA makes the only like gaming GPUs. Yeah, they basically make a gaming laptop. Go Ryzen 9 7940HS on their 16, 32 gigs of RAM, go 2 terabytes, Radeon RX 7700S, and bada bing, bada boom, you've pretty much got a pretty standard gaming laptop there. Very basic. Chat's telling me I just wanted to go ahead and show you could get a gaming test laptop from them. The thing is, though, is that this is almost irrelevant, right? You could go ahead and get a $2,400 midway. Fine, I'll go throw more storage in. Jeez, fine, here. There's a 2 terabyte and 8 terabyte, you lunatic. Sheesh. Personally, I would just go the 2 terabyte and then leave the second slot empty so you can just bring your own. But, I'm more comfortable inside a laptop to go ahead and add things. But yeah, they have the ability for you to just add a GPU just straight up. Someone in chat says, sucks you get. What are you going to do with 8 petabytes? Like, real talk. What? Do you have any idea what it takes to get to 8 petabytes in this day and age? Can you fathom the amount of storage that 8 petabytes is? We're going to bring out a calculator because that's how stupid this is. Someone in chat says someone has 15 petabytes used. No, they don't. No, they do not. Because here's the thing. You're talking 8 petabytes. That is 8,000. Actually, it's not even. It's how many terabytes? 8,192 terabytes. The biggest drives we have right now are 20 terabytes. That is 410 drives. 410 drives to get it 8 petabytes. Like, do you understand? Let's pretend for a moment that we're going to go ahead and load that up into a server. All right. It's 410. We'll say 12 drives per server. It should be 10 because you should have 2 drives for redundancy in each. Let's say you're that silly. That's 35 servers or 35 JBODs dedicated strictly to hard drive storage to get your 8 petabytes. That's insane. 8 petabytes. No, you don't need 8 petabytes. This is literally like your living room sounding like a jet engine at all times and losing half of it to 2 full-size server racks of just hard drives for your 8 petabytes. This is also assuming you have the money to afford this too. This is insane. Also, just while we're at it, to talk about how many pictures of your mom that would include, we'll go ahead and be generous and say you have 50 meg pictures for 8 petabytes. That would be 163,840,000 pictures of your mom that 8 petabytes would hold. Someone in chat asked, why can't we just invent an 8 petabyte drive? Because a petabyte is that's what I'm trying to convey. Petabytes are big. There's no 8 petabyte drive because a petabyte is massive. It's the same reason why can't they just invent a sedan that can haul 80 tons? It's because 80 tons is massive. You know what else doesn't have 8 petabytes? The new Framwork desktop that now exists. So again, getting back to topic that doesn't involve 8 petabytes of pictures of your mom, Framwork went ahead and released a desktop. Now, here's the weird thing. Desktops, with very few exceptions, already are extremely serviceable. Like, I actually would love to see Framwork make an all-in-one, to be perfectly honest. I would love to see a Framwork iMac sort of thing. That would be insane. But they have made a small mini desktop. Now, what is the big selling point of this mini desktop? It's very simple. The desktop is based on the Strix Halo AMD CPU. If you don't know what Strix Halo is, this is the mobile processor that's meant for laptops or tablets that has a very high-end GPU built into it. I'm going to ignore all questions now from the chat that involves storage capacity because they're being silly. Does it come with 100 terabytes as standard? Nothing comes with 100 terabytes as standard. Shush. Today on Unserious Questions, the whole point of this thing is that it actually runs on the Strix Halo processor. So it's basically a game console when you think about it. However, there is a major problem with this system. The Framwork desktop spits in the face of the Framwork mission. The mission, as I was explaining before, everyone decided to wonder, what if we just had hundreds of petabytes for some reason? The whole point is go ahead and have easily repairable laptops, because normally the average person, when a laptop has a problem, they just get rid of it and get a new one. Framwork wanted to go ahead and make laptops that's very easy to just take out a part and replace it. Or better yet, when a part is obsolete, to easily replace the part and have it be upgraded. That's Framwork's whole shtick. Even their gaming laptop, it's just a module that plugs into the back. Pop it out, pop it in, bang, bang, boom, you're done. Easy peasy. So when you have a mobile processor that by default has to be soldered into the board because that's the only way it works, you're already kind of going against what the mission statement of Framwork is. To make things even worse, because of the requirements for Strix Halo, the RAM also has to be soldered onto the board. The actual processor communicates so quickly with the RAM, the only way it functions is with the RAM soldered to the system. So when you get this desktop from a manufacturer that is all about sustainability, repairability, and upgrading, you have to make sure you have the correct amount of RAM, or else you have gone ahead and gotten a desktop that is already obsolete the moment you bought it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed. Now, I can't blame Framwork too much for this. They have said in interviews that they tried to work with AMD to get this to work. They wanted to go ahead and find some way to get replaceable SODIMMs or something on there, but for whatever reason they couldn't. I think the answer could have very well have been the cams that that Dell came up with, a new standard of low profile memory for laptops that is meant for high performance. I think that could have been the answer, but unfortunately Framwork didn't explore that route as far as I'm aware, or there was something else that got in the way there and we just don't know. But if you are interested in a system that is basically a PC PS5, well, it'll cost you about $1,600, a little bit more than a PS5. But the nice thing is, because it is Framwork, the entire front panel has all these tiles that you can in fact swap out. They do have schematics out there that if you have a 3D printer and you want to 3D print your own tiles and really make it your own, you can. The front IO is swappable. It's just the same sort of modules they use on their laptops. So there is a lot of customizability. And of course, there is also the M.2 slots. So you can go ahead and add up to probably 8 terabytes, maybe 16. Does it actually say how many M.2 slots we got? 2 NVMe slots, 8 terabytes each. Yep, that sounds about right. Up to 128 gigabytes of RAM. Fortunately, the lowest end model has 32 gigabytes of RAM. So even the lowest end model at like $1,200 is going to go ahead and have plenty of RAM to function. So there's not much to worry about there. But yeah, Framwork has made a laptop or a desktop that is not modular. Someone in chat did make a good point that it is shared with the video. It is true. Because the GPU is built onto the CPU, those 32 gigs are going to be shared with the GPU. I mean, honestly, they have 3 different options here for the SoC. They have a AI Max 385, an AI Max 395, and another AI Max 395. I would get either one of the two 395s. One has 64 gigabytes of RAM, the other has 128 gigabytes of RAM. I would just go with one of those two, to be honest. That would be my recommendation. Because you're already going to go ahead and, if you're already going to go ahead and get like a little boutique system like this, you might as well spend the extra to go ahead and get the extra RAM on it and the extra, double the CPU cores, possibly upgraded GPU. Because if you're going to go ahead and go with the lower one that you might throttle on the RAM and you might throttle on the CPU, you're almost better off at that point just getting a used system, in my opinion. But I'm also not afraid of, grabbing a used system. So to each their own. We also don't have benchmarks yet on how well each of these Strix Halo processors perform. The early benchmarks we've gotten so far involving tablets showed that they worked really well. But we don't have details beyond that yet. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, we want to talk about some other stuff from AMD, including how AMD may in fact have saved the PC building space. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Good news for those on the latest and greatest hardware, all 7 of you. ASRock has now addressed the problem they've been having with Ryzen 7 9800X 3D CPUs. Apparently there's been some boot issues with their motherboards, and pretty much the only CPU people are using nowadays on new systems. And this is affected. This will be addressed with a BIOS update. Make sure if you have an ASRock motherboard, you update your BIOS. That's pretty much all there is to this one. Like, for the most part, I'm not gonna lie, you don't hear about ASRock having that many problems. You know, we've heard of MSI problems, we've heard of Gigabyte problems, we've heard of Asus problems, we've heard of Apple problems, we've heard of Apple problems, we've heard of Google problems, we've heard of Apple problems. You just don't hear about ASRock problems. There was even some reports that these problems they were having was in fact damaging CPUs, though ASRock said that this is not the case. But in any case, just make sure you go ahead, update your BIOS. Someone in chat asked, have we heard of Apple problems? No, Apple's a flawless company. They never make mistakes ever. See, I can throw sarcasm right back at people. It's very easy. You know what's not sarcastic though? AMD actually helping PC gaming entirely. Someone in chat does bring up the point that ASRock is Asus. It's true, but they are separate enough that they are not using like the same internal structure. Like ASRock is owned by Asus, but they don't use Asus's customer service. Their internal choices are not the same as Asus as well. They do share the same parent company. They do share some of the same manufacturing, but for whatever reason, ASRock, which is supposed to be the cheap brand of Asus, are just doing it better than Asus. Like, I feel like there's enough of a difference there. You can go ahead and say, yeah, no, they're different. They're different. Meanwhile, though, AMD announced the pricing for their new RX 9070 and 9070 XT GPUs. Now, to get your head in the game as to where the space of PC building is right now, okay? Last gen GPUs are vanishing. They're being phased out. They are mostly just, they're hard to come by now, okay? The new generation's starting to roll out. Right now, NVIDIA GPUs, you have the 5090, the 5080, and the 5070 Ti. All 3 of these GPUs use a defective connector that puts way too much amperage through a single part of the connector that can, in isolated cases, melt the connector and potentially start an electrical fire. You also have all 3 of these cards now. I repeat, all 3 of the NVIDIA cards have cases of having incorrect specs listed. And what I mean is that the GPUs are shipping with parts missing on the die. As in, from the factory, the GPU is defective and needs to be replaced. NVIDIA is selling you a V6 truck, telling you that it's a V8 and charging you as though it's a V8. In addition, NVIDIA GPUs are being scalped by themselves and also having barely any stock shipping out at all, causing scalpers to go in, grab what's barely there of the stock that exists, which is almost none, and then hiking up those prices by a factor of 4. Right now, NVIDIA has arguably the worst GPU launch ever. Every single one of these GPUs is a failure. every single one of these GPUs is unpurchasable, and every single one of them is unaffordable. Oh, I also forgot. The performance increase that NVIDIA promised was a blatant lie based solely on AI-generated frames. So on top of all this, NVIDIA was taking part in deceptive market practice as well. That is the state of PC gaming right now. Your other option right now is Intel, who has cards out right now that require you to use the latest and greatest in CPU technology, of which some of theirs goes ahead and self-destructs. So while they have GPUs that are more budget conscious, it negates itself because of the fact that you need to go ahead and use the newest CPUs that are out there that support a very specific memory technology, and 2 generations of their CPUs that support this self-destruct. So AMD is now going in this field, with NVIDIA flipping off everyone and not caring about the fact that their consumer side is burning to the ground. Intel, who has fallen flat face first into the mud, AMD is about to launch 2 new GPUs into a market where the cheapest, theoretically, that NVIDIA was about to put out would have been $800. AMD has priced their new RX 9070 and 9070 XT GPUs at $549 and $599 for what was originally going to be a $1,000 GPU. Here's the question. How good is this card going to be? Because I'm not going to lie, the price right here, I don't like it. I'd rather see it lower, but considering the environment they're going into, somehow $600 is very competitive, because the environment it's going into right now is just awful. It's not hard to conceive spending $600 on a GPU and the rest of your computer components also costing $600 and having a competent $1,200 brand new gaming PC. We're starting to see with these 2 GPUs an environment in which building your own PC is once again something that is affordable and not a hobby of the rich, which is what NVIDIA has basically made it. Think about it. You spend, $200 on a CPU, another $150 on a motherboard, another $50 on the RAM, another 30 on the, or another 30, 40 on the SSD. We'll say 100 on the case and power supply, and then $3,000 on the GPU because it's been scalped to oblivion and that's the only place you can get it. And by the way, the scalper was the manufacturer themselves. What are you doing? It's insane. That was the state of PC building. This doesn't fix anything, but this does give us hope. Also, I'm just going to say this right now. This $549, that should go down to $499. A $50 difference that is most likely going to be eaten up by an inboard partner putting out a factory overclock. The prices are too tight. They're just too tight. I'm sorry, they are. Like most cases, you're going to go ahead and just get a 9070 XT, the higher end version, than say a factory overclocked 9070. It just wouldn't make sense otherwise. Now, from what I understand and from what I've heard, next week, these GPUs will launch. Before then, we will have our benchmarks. We will know how they stand up to the pieces of paper that NVIDIA put out that they call the 50 series. These benchmarks are going to be key, and I cannot stress this enough. Will AMD have actually saved the PC building market, or is it just over and is PC building just a rich person hobby? I'll say this much. This looks promising. This really, really does. Unfortunately, though, AMD FSR 4.0 will unfortunately only be exclusive to those 2 new GPUs. AMD normally puts out these software performance increases, also known as FSR or Fidelity FX Super Resolution, and they're not hardware based, so they can work on any GPU. That is not going to be the case for FSR 4.0. It's only going to work on the hardware of the RDNA 4 GPUs. To which, I'm not going to lie, I so don't care. FSR honestly was just kind of fine. The same thing with the last gen of NVIDIA's DLSS and their frame gen technology. It's the recent version of NVIDIA's stuff where you're generating more fake frames than real frames. That's when everything starts to fall apart, and I think that's too much. So we'll have to wait and see how this all performs. I would rather just see all that sort of fake frame stuff turned off. That's how I would run my stuff. That is how I run my stuff. And just let the GPU do its work naturally. Meanwhile, though, over at Nothing has announced something. That something being the Phone 3A Pro, of which they said straight off the bat, some people will hate this new design. Look, I'm not gonna lie, Nothing. Your phones are already a choice. All right. Like when I look at these sort of phones with like the clear back and the weird camera layout and the LED light chunks all over the place, you already had a weird look. And you're gonna go ahead and say like, oh my God, some people may hate our design. People hated your design before. That didn't stop you. So I mean, like, who cares if people hate your design? They hated your design before. What do you got to lose? Someone in the chat asked, does the Nothing phone function? Yes, the Nothing phone does in fact work. Nothing does do something. It is in fact so I guess I should explain this. Nothing is a company. All right. They're made of former Apple workers. They went ahead and started they started a phone design, and it's like kind of mid-range phones. They're like not budget phones, but they're not like $1,000 flagships either. And they're very competent phones, but they very much have a unique look. And some people like them, some people hate them. At first, they were exclusive to the EU. Nowadays, they are going to be, I'm pretty sure they're available in the US now as well. And they're usually somewhere between like $400 and $700, like around that range. Are they the best phones out there? No. Are they unique? Yes. Are they functional? Yes. Do I keep making fun of the fact the company is named Nothing and they continue to call themselves and they keep calling their devices the Nothing phone? And it's very confusing to tell people that Nothing has announced something? Yes. Am I amused by it? Yes. Someone in chat asked, can I watch Twitch, YouTube, and play games on it? It's an Android phone. It is an Android powered smartphone. So yes, anything you can do on an Android phone, you can do on the Nothing phone. It just has a weird name and a weird back design. That's it. Is it going to play games well? I don't even know what the specs are. They're actually not even, the phone's not even technically announced. It's not being announced until March 4th. So on Tuesday, in fact. But the thing has had so much leak out that it's just like, oh, the design leaked out. Oh no. To which I say, whatevs. Actually, wait, I know what people actually care about. I know the real question people want to know. I'm sorry. It does not have a headphone jack. Now it's dead to everyone. Actually, yeah, their last phone was $700. Yikes. But yeah, they had some interesting choices with this like LED glyph sort of thing going on here. But, you know, that is just what they had. It was only available in black and white. And it just is what it is. I like how people still consider the no headphone jack's a major point against it. Where are you people getting wired headphones? That's what I want to know. I had to go to a freaking audio specialist store to get my wired headphones. Where are you guys getting yours? There's the real question. Someone in chat said 5 below. You know what? Fair. Ooh, God. I'm just reminded of just like the roughness of like one time that I was out on the road doing delivery jobs and I needed a pair of headphones to connect with my phone just because I needed something with, like the mic worked but my headphone didn't, so I needed to like swap it out. And just like the Dollar Tree headphones were just so, it felt like I stuck headphone shaped sandpaper in my ears. It was awful. Hopefully the Five Below earbuds are not that bad. Oh, by the way, in we have a little bit of gaming news. Just a little bit of gaming news for you. First off, Shadows of Mordor. Do you know their studio is gone? The Warner Brothers studio that has made Shadows of Mordor has completely shut down, and Warner Brothers is refusing to sell the patent on the Nemesis system. This is a patent that says that in a game, a randomly generated I'm doing like a very, very like rough summary of the Nemesis system. It's more complicated than this, but it's basically that a enemy character is chosen to be your nemesis, and as the game progresses, they get stronger and keep reoccurring as like a Team Rocket villain throughout your entire playthrough. That was the Nemesis system. That is patent protected. No game can do that. And no game will be able to do that until 2036. Because Warner Brothers is refusing to let the patent go and refusing to do any kind of royalty deal with that patent. The whole thing right now with Palworld and Nintendo, how Nintendo is trying to sue Palworld and holding up game mechanic patents as a reason as to why they are due damages, is one of the worst things that happened to the gaming industry. This is one of the reasons why. Imagine if Warner Brothers, anytime someone tried to make a reoccurring villain and it got close enough to the Nemesis system that Warner Brothers just started suing. Like, this sort of patent system is already messed up. Fortunately, and this is a story I actually didn't really cover because I kept forgetting, but also because it was just me a neat sort of thing. But there was a story that one of my viewers brought me to that showed that Nintendo did try to file the same patent that they are suing Palworld for in Japan here in the US. The patent office here in the US rejected the patent. That's not going to affect the case going on in Japan at all, but it should tell you just how petty and scummy Nintendo is trying to be the Palworld. That even the US patent office just looked at that and said, no, you're not going to go ahead and update a patent to include stuff you came up with after the fact and after another company has already used it. That's insane. And yet they're doing it in Japan. Patents on game mechanics are awful, and they should have never, ever been a thing. I would love to debate someone on this, but I got a feeling most people in the gaming space, I probably have the majority opinion on that one. There's very, very few people that believe, yeah, this is fine. We should totally have this. It's fine. Maybe one day there'll be a gaming win. Oh, hey, a gaming win. Balatro has won their appeal in the EU to have their game no longer classified as PEGI 18. It is now classified as PEGI 12, which is what it should have been classified as in the first place. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of background on this. Balatro, if you are unaware, is a roguelike playing card game. All right. You start off the game with a standard deck of poker cards. Okay. You have no money on the table, but the whole point of it is that you draw cards and you attempt to make poker hands. The better the poker hand, the more chips you earn, the chips are multiplied, and you just continue to go on. You get your roguelite kind of features by every time you complete one round. You get to select jokers that give additional multipliers if you meet certain conditions. Someone in chat is trying to tell me the difference between roguelite and roguelike. I'm just going to tell you this right now. I don't care. I am sorry to the entire genre of roguelite and roguelike, but guess what? I don't care enough about your stupid freaking pronunciation and the fact you decide to have two names that are dangerously close to each other. Guess what? I don't freaking care. There's my statement to everyone that says roguelite versus roguelike. You're the problem. Take that. There's my statement on it. I so do not care enough about... It's like saying Stream Deck and Steam Deck. You have to like enunciate the R so much, and it's just, I don't care enough. So there. The genre is the problem. Pick a better name next time. There's my statement on that. But the whole point I'm getting here at is the fact that the main reason that they were classified as PEGI 18, meaning that you had to be 18 or older to get the game Balatro, was that because it involved poker hands, they immediately assumed that gambling's involved. No money ever crosses the table in the game Balatro, real or fake. There is a system within the game that, depending on how well you score, you earn an in-game currency, and you spend the in-game currency to improve your deck through various means, whether that be through jokers, tarot cards that directly modify your cards, leveling up how much score poker hands are worth. There's a multitude of ways to do it. But in the end, there is no traditional method of gambling within the game. There is an element of chance, but no actual gambling takes place. And so, as a result, Balatro has won out, and they are now a 12 years old and up video game. I don't know why I decided to go ahead and hold a actual deck of actual poker cards, but I am. Deal with it. So yeah, good for Balatro. I also heard a story. I have not been able to confirm it, but apparently like multiple casinos have approached the developer of Balatro and said that they want to go ahead and make actual like gambling machines based on the Balatro game and put them in casinos, and the developer just turned them down. I have no idea if that's true or not, but you combine that with the fact they were called an actual gambling game in the EU, and it does make you wonder just how furious the dev had to be about that. The fact they just like, no, EU, no, we're not a gambling game. We're not a gambling game. And then other people, hey, you want to be a gambling game? No, shut up. I can only imagine the amount of frustration. And with that, my friends, that brings us to the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you, for whatever reason, a device that lets you taste video games. The device, known as e-Taste, sits on your lower teeth and delivers flavors directly into your mouth in response to remote stimuli. All right, look, we're having a hard enough time trying to get people to embrace VR gaming. All right, that's already hard enough. We're having hard enough time trying to get people to put on like a headset to go ahead and have immersive gaming. What makes you think someone wants to go ahead and wear headgear like this that covers their mouth and then injects taste directly into their mouth like this? Even just doing this bit with my headphones and having my mouth covered by the headrest of my headphones already just it's really annoying, and nothing's actually conducted in my mouth. This is not a great plan. Someone in chat said tasting has been, yes, this has been attempted before. This is a new device to attempt it, and I'm just going to tell you this right now, it's probably a non-starter. It is just, I don't see gamers wanting to do this. This might be something to consider for, say, you know, a VR experience booth. It might fly there. It might have a chance to, but for the most part, I just don't see this going well, like, at all. as far as it being a consumable product. But you know what? That's how every crazy invention starts, as a vaporware product that really should just be focused at selling at CES. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works, youtube.com/Eagle Falcon and twitch.tv/Eagle Falcon. Take care. I hope you have a great day. I know the last couple of episodes have actually been like shorter than normal, but I feel like we are covering better topics at the very least. I think that is probably more important than anything else. But I still hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. I love how one of the first things that's asked about this device, and I've just been kind of ignoring it because it's not safe for work, is can you use it for adult entertainment? How the heck would I know? Somehow I doubt that the entire team has designed this thing specifically for the adult entertainment business. I'm just going to go on a hunch and say that was not their top priority. It might have been the top priority of that one weird guy on the team, because I swear every team that has developers like this, there's always that one guy. There's always that one guy. It might be the top priority for that guy, but I got a feeling the majority of the team did not have that in mind. But I wish them luck in their efforts and wherever it's going to go.